The seven spirits of God. Isaiah says that when he was describing the Messiah, that he had the seven. And he names the spirits, all seven of them. And I penetrated that thing. Did you know that I worked for about 20 years on spirit, soul, and body? And at that time, I couldn't find anybody who knew what the spirit of man is. I asked Oral about it so many times, he said, I wish you wouldn't talk about that no more. Because on the front page of his magazine, he would say that man is a mind, a soul, and a body. Of course, I'd write him a dirty letter, just a little dirty. And I'd say, or the Bible says man is made up of a spirit, soul, and body. And the mind is part of the soul. So you've only got two here and not three. And after I struggled with it, and you know how to work when you don't know something? Preach it. You ought to pay the people for listening because you're just learning off of them. But that's the way it expands and explodes, is when you preach it. And I was preaching it and didn't know what I was talking about, which a lot of preachers do. And one morning about 2 o'clock, the Lord woke me up and said, do you know what your spirit is? And I said, no. I think I know what my soul is, but not my spirit. Your soul is your whole natural man inside of you, composed of mind, emotions, and will. It's all in that book out there about spirit, soul, and body. And until you know what is your spirit, very likely you're living in your soul. You're not living in your spirit, man. A man that everybody here knows and has heard of would say on television, that's my German coming out, when he was mad at somebody. So I called him to one side and I said, don't be belittling the Germans. I said, they're nice people, and I like the Germans, even though I'm an Irishman. For them to like anybody is a miracle. They don't have anybody else to fight, they fight each other. And so I said, that's not your German coming out, it's the devil coming out of you. He says, why don't you get that thing cast out? And then you won't have those rages and speaking hard things that you, a little while later, wish you hadn't have said. And he thought about it, and I hadn't heard him talk about, he's on television every day, but I hadn't heard him talk about the German coming out anymore. And I'm kind of glad for that, you know. What's in you will come out. And so be sure of what's in you. The Lord spoke to me and said, your spirit is your born-again nature, and that